Welcome to Inspired Edinburgh, powerful conversations helping you reconnect with your purpose. I'm Elliot Reeves, and my guest today is Ekaterina Matveeva. Kate is the founder of Amolingua, a company whose mission is to create a more connected, multilingual world. You're a linguist, a polyglot, a memory sportsman, a speaker, a teacher of languages and cultures, and you were awarded UK Businesswoman 2015 by the Grad Factor. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Kate, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Elliot. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and that's amazing. It's a great environment, and well done on pronouncing my name and Amolingua.
Thank you. I do try. Yeah, so
quite a challenge.
Okay, so it would be great, I suppose, if we could start by talking a bit about, your background, where you grew up, what you were like growing up, and the whole story.
The whole story. We'll go on and on and on. All right. So I was born in Moscow. However, later on I discovered that my parents, who were born in Moscow, actually lived half of their teenage life in Mongolia, because their parents were on one side were in government, on the other side engineering, and so the side of the government it was coming from Poland, and the part of engineering is coming from Greek roots, and it's all a mix, and I got very fascinated about it. When I was a kid, I was always asking my grandparents, can you tell me more about my family, there, because we're all kids, very curious about it. And then, they were telling me all these amazing stories from their childhood of their grandparents. And then it happened so that we're traveling more and more, on holidays, maybe with grandparents or parents or with study groups, and I would just be exposed to more different, let's say, cultures and societies. But at the same time, as a kid, I was kind of put into army. What I'm saying that I was in a German gymnasium, then I was put into synchronized swimming. And when I was in German gymnasium, that was the first experience of interaction with language teachers, and I was 4. So instead of kindergarten, I was put in gymnasium because I hated kindergartens, and it was so horrible for me because the lady was trying to get me memorize some phrases, right, in order to, let's say, express myself. She was like, "Das ist Gott." That's what I remember, and I remember this kind of wig style, white hair, and maybe she was in her 50s. So this was horrible, and she was very, very similar in her look to my grandmother from Polish side, and I even got afraid of my grandmother because of the similarities.
Really?
I mean, I was 4, and at the same time I was in art school as well, drawing, painting, all this clay, and then swimming kicked in. And swimming kicked in because I had lots of energy, and I still have, probably I had even more, and it was clumsy. It's kind of, you're running around with a cat and all the corners. Eventually my mom said, okay, let's go for swimming and let's go for synchronized swimming. And it turned out, first pretty well, because I got into kind of as well top of top, because it was so competitive, and I believe that my competitiveness comes from there, because Russian synchronized swimming is one of the, it's top. And when you're working, you started working with literally future Olympic, people who are going there champions. You must, smash it. And I was training with people who were 4 or 5 years older than I was, just getting there. And eventually, at some point, I kind of fell, and I hurt my knee. And it was just a few days before one of the national competitions, and definitely I couldn't perform, and consequently I let down my coach, and she turned kind of against me, and there were lots of things when you're in early teenage time, you just don't know how to handle it. And it went worse and worse, because then we had some kind of camps, sportive camps, when you go as well away, and that was just horrible because I couldn't train. Coach thought that I was simulating, and the team kind of also was like divided into two camps. And after I think 10 days there, like in the worst nightmare of my life, let's say, I just called my mom. It was like the time when you just get your like first mobile phones, like I don't know, 200 or 2000 something, I don't remember. And just like take me back. And after that, I couldn't get into swimming like water maybe for 2 or 3 years. And I got into more like IT stuff, a bit of languages, like getting back to school. But then still there was a situation that I could go back to sport, and they were saying at the same time, it was again like it was a tip point, maybe because that's why I felt kind of, they were like, either you stay in normal school, right, and you don't have the future in sport, or you go to sportive school and you give everything to it, and then you go to Olympics because you're already in nationals. Jeez. And that was that point. And I think thanks to this actually failure, I didn't opt for that. Because otherwise it would be, maybe I would be in Olympics, maybe I would be somewhere there, but I would just close doors to absolutely everything in my life, because, you know, you're just there and then you become, I don't know what, the coach. You know, it wasn't enough, let's say. And then I got turned, you know, back to all this like school, traveling and normal life. However, what happened then was quite unexpected. I got some kind of disease, osteomyelitis or something like that. It's like with like joint. And it was just a few days before going abroad. And I was put to hospital and urgently operated because there was this pus. And then I wasn't bad. And I couldn't walk literally for half a year. So I was out of school, I was out of everywhere, and I couldn't run like for a year. And like half a year I was at school. Teachers would come to me. They would take a taxi, like parents would take a taxi to bring me to my first normal tutor of English. And I had lots of, let's say, thoughts to go through to kind of reconsider, because it was just before the final years of school. I know that it made huge impact on me as well. And after that I was like, okay, now I'm getting back to normal life. I want like to take everything, you know, out of it. And then I started acting, like this acting like studio. So it was English, IT, acting, and even like more. And it was on top of, let's say, all this demanding curriculum of schools. And acting was amazing, because I, on one side, so I was writing poems, like, and I'm still writing. So I was writing, and then I was acting. And what I started doing, like literature, let's say, you know, kind of classes, instead of just reciting poems, I would act them. And my teacher would absolutely hate me for this, because she would say, what the hell are you doing here? What kind of show are you doing here? And like my friends, even like from other, you know, like classes, you know, forms, would actually come to sneak to watch me acting on that. This was tremendous. It was amazing. You know, like let's say, you know, there's like Russian classics, and you're just acting it out and just rushing out, so, you know, through the door, like, get me the carriage. It was great. And then it was coming to the point of this like serious years, like serious choice. And this was quite tricky, because definitely I wanted something related maybe to the stage, to creativity. However, parents, being very conservative and, let's say, in education terms, told me no way. So what? Being a poet? Like when I was like 5 or 6, I was like, I want to be a poet. No, it's just a hobby. And then like years later, when I'm like getting some rewards for this, they are like, is it possible? You know, so it's kind of this like self-doubt. Also, I understand that they were brought up in this, you know, era of like still Soviet period, and then that Soviet period collapsed, and they actually experienced a lot, and they managed to give me as much as possible as well. This is like tremendous. But, you know, you start seeing this pattern. And they were saying, no, you're going for some class education, so here like top 3 universities, so you're getting there. Because by that time, as I wasn't in sport anymore, so it meant you must be here in education. okay. And then I was jumping in my education, like jumping classes, because when I was at sports, so I managed to get into some experimental program. Instead of 4 years, it was 3 years. And then the same was like at secondary school, high school. So again, jumping. And then they were saying, well, maybe instead of getting to university at 16, which is just normally like 18, instead of 16, why not to get into at 15?
No way.
And I said, no. Yeah, you know what? I want to stay with my friends for 1 more year at school. And I stayed, and then, yeah, this choice came. And then it was this MSLU, Moscow State Linguistic University. And honestly, I wasn't sure how I would go there, why I would go there. It was just kind of, you know, this direction. And during the preparation time, it was really challenging because all the tutors who were there were kind of scary and intimidating, especially one of them in English. And after lessons with her, I would come like crying. I would be just like this, just, yeah, let me give up, not go there at all, or choose somebody else. But for some reason, I would just keep going. I don't know why. I mean, like, I was just doing it, and I think it was as well like a personal challenge to overcome it, to find the way how to tackle this person. And eventually, I broke through. I managed. Later on, I found out that just a few months before we met with her, her husband unfortunately died, passed away. So she was kind of bringing it all this pain on us, let's say students, but we didn't know, right? So it was just very, you know, like entangled situation. But eventually, yeah, I got into the uni in order to discover that actually there was a theater studio. And I was like, yeah, so it's like, you know, one of the things, yeah, kind of compromising, right? But another challenge was that the woman, the lady who was the director of the theater in English, she was our teacher of phonetics. And I really wanted to impress her, right? Because I was like, yes, I'm going to be the best of the best as usual. Yeah, it's like, you know, this type of bar. And she would invite me. And here my emotions kicked in. I was always so anxious at her lessons, like this type of anxiety that actually, you know, brings you pain, that I either would overdo things or I would be doing completely, you know, some random different, you know, sounds. And she would be like looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, you are, you know, normal girl. But I just couldn't, you know, couldn't tell her what I wanted just because, you know, I felt kind of intimidated, ashamed. So eventually, at some point, she noticed that if I were kind of, I know, doing something, I was doing, I don't know, maybe just talking to somebody and she would catch me and ask me something, I would pronounce it in the correct way. She was like, wow, actually you can do stuff. So imagine that me, A plus, yeah, phonetics C. So for me, it was just like there, somewhere there. At the same time, you have this, and then you have other like teachers and tutors who are, well, literally, you know, brought up on the Soviet system of grammar and cramming, and they give you texts and saying, okay, here are like 2 pages about the weather. Cram!
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Yeah, cram. And you start cramming, and then, you know, you're retelling. And at that time, I'd been already, you know, to UK, I was like everywhere, and I felt like speaking quite all right. And I realized that I started forgetting the language just because we were cramming. And if we made a mistake, or let's say mistake, we would just, you know, swap some sentences or phrases without, you know, any kind of like mistake commitment, they would be like, no, start again. And you would just come over and over again with the same text, telling the same thing. It was horrible. But again, this type of, you know, challenges and this type of failures were kind of, you know, crafting, you know, like brushing up the personality.
Yeah.
So it was a moment when I discovered like the history of language, intercultural communication, all this like linguistics. And it just, you know, caught me, because what was happening that just before the uni, like when I was coming back crying, yeah, after the tutor for English and then traveling as well, there was this major European trip. I was already visited by these thoughts of changing something in, let's say, approach in learning languages and cultures. And that winter of like 2007, 8, 9, somewhere there, like 10 years ago, basically. It just, started coming to me, this inspiration. So I wanted my school, but I really wasn't sure what I wanted. I knew that it would be completely something different. There would be lots of people, lots of different tutors, and we would be talking not just about language itself, but about history, culture, cuisine, crafts, anything related, like geography, whatever. And then getting to this situation of all these types of disciplines in languages, and they're all horribly taught in this old style way, and then get into communication, anthropology. You're like, wow, that's actually what I want to dig into. And
so how many qualifications did you end up with?
Yes, it's a very good start. You see, it's a good. So there, and that university, I had theory and methodology of teaching languages and cultures. That was first. It's linguistics and education, practical, teaching, teaching practice. So this. And then later on, it was in Poland, and it was financial business academy, and there it was language as a tool in this business communication. It was quite interesting as well, because I finally wasn't scared away by economics, because economics for me was so good. So this, and then later on, this master, Erasmus Mundus master, who doesn't know, it's financed by European Commission, and if you enroll into a program, you accept it, you get scholarship, and you get 3, 4, even 5 different universities and all the diplomas, with different qualifications. So it's joint program. And from there, I got these 4 qualifications, and they're all different again. So it's all related to linguistics, communication, comparative linguistics, comparative literature, sociocultural anthropology, and intercultural communication, cultural analysis. Maybe I forgot something else. But it's more or less like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a lot. It's really a lot to take.
Yeah. And I mean, how do you think you've changed the more kind of qualifications you've amassed?
Oh God. The point is, what I was trying to analyze all this. When you're a super versatile person, and lots of people are like this, right? They have lots of interests, lots of hobbies, and they just don't know what to focus on, right? It's a challenge, but it's also an advantage, because from one discipline, one hobby, one subject, you already have this fundamental knowledge. And when you get to another one, you bring it together with you, and you can look at it from a different angle, and in depth. And that's amazing. And then you get more and more, and you can look at it already from different perspectives. The same as actually with languages. We'll come to this, And then when you get all these different types, because after all, it's all about communication. It's either us talking, let's say it's socio, right, sociology, or we're talking more about anthropology, science about the human and our brain. Then so it's all connected, inside and out, And then you you're trying to tailor all these, skills, right? And then you can mix them, match. And if you master this type of skill of mixing and matching, you can get something at the end, which is very complex and also very simple, and can be this Swiss knife.
That's very cool. Very cool. So how was Amolingua conceived? We spoke about this before, but what does the name actually represent?
God. All right, so Amolingua, well done in pronouncing. Amolingua. Amo, I love. Lingua, so language, Latin. Oh God. Where to start? So yeah, basically it started when I started dreaming about the school. That was first. Then later on, all this discovery of this secondary linguistic personality theory, and I took it as one of my main topics for the dissertation. And through all my academic years, I was always about it. Then it was as well Pierre Bourdieu. Bourdieu, it's a French sociologist, and he's talking about habitus, like habitus. It's the power of our habits and the way how we formed like in our environment, like children, and then later on when we go from kindergarten to school, university, and even like at work, our environment actually forms us, we know this. And I just put it all together, like, you know, the socio classes, and then languages, cultures, and then mixing it up and seeing what's actually happening there. So at the time of finalizing my master, which was like 3 years ago, it's like, oh my God. So literally, I had a few projects. So all the time I was teaching, it's almost for 10 years now, then I had a blog, EuropeOnline, where my friends and I were writing about our adventures. Europe, also different like scholarships, tips, all this type of things. And it's quite, successful, let's say, because 20,000 people actually visited website per month, which wasn't bad.
Was that because I read something that was saying it was a top 20 rated by like CNBC?
It's actually Amolingua. It's actually Amolingua EuropeOnline. Yes. Okay. Yeah. This is like interesting because I'll explain what happened. So the blog was on top there, and then there was as well e-supervisor that still exists. But it's a bit, dormant. We are going to develop it a bit further because it's more like, it's Oxford-based and it's consultancy for like students who want to enhance their academic career and they are not satisfied with their supervisors, which quite often, it happens. Anyways, so it was 3 years ago, and in St. Andrews, I met Bonnie. Bonnie was my mentor, and she's still my mentor, Bonnie Hacken, and literally, in February, we had some first like competition of ideas. I had no idea at the time, what was going on about Santander, all this type of, prizes. So anyways, I entered, and then she was like, Kate, you have too many projects. You need to focus, you need to concentrate. And then what she did, so at that time, 3 years ago, I was about to go to New York to actually present already my dissertation there at NYU. It was like an honor, amazing. And I had a choice. I could fly on 19th or 20th because I was presenting, I think, on 22nd, something like this. And she was like, Kate, you know what? I know that there is one big event you must attend. Change your tickets, do whatever, because that's what will help you actually to navigate later on. Like, okay, what it is. And it was this SIE summit for students, student entrepreneurs. And I had no idea what was SIE, what was anything, just nothing. I mean, it was like time when I just moved, to my final destination, university, right? I was like there for a few weeks after as well, being somewhere between India and Italy and France. Okay, fine, I'm in my final semester, I need to figure out what's happening. And so she was kind of persuading me, and I already had tickets, and I managed to change them. And I came, and it was tremendous because it's where I met Gavin Oates, and he's amazing, and I'm so honored just, being communicating with him and learning from him as well, lots of amazing things. It was as well Gareth Williams, Skyscanner. And that time, I already knew about Skyscanner, and I even remember how a few days before the event, I was talking to some of my students, and they were working in traveling industry, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to some some summits, some events. They're like, yeah, who's going to speak? And I'm like, Skyscanner. Oh, so this type of thing is international. And then there was this red hot chili pipers, right?
Okay, yes, yeah.
But I read it as red hot chili peppers.
Oh dear.
So I was like, why is it going to be there? So it was hilarious. So anyways, there were all these, people, and it's just tremendous because with so many of them, maybe, handful, but still, here, we're still in touch and we're communicating, and we've done lots of, amazing things. And it just, shows that this type of events, especially, in cities like Edinburgh, brings people together, like-minded people, and they get connected, especially if they're like newbies. Yeah. So that's amazing. That's like, amazing network. So that's another thing. So, and from there, yeah, I kind of, started going on and on. So it happened that EuropeOnline eventually blog turned into kind of repositioned itself as more like a school, but it happened already in 2015 after I was in London and then I was in China. Because in 2014 summertime, that was a time when I got introduced to memory sport, again by chance, and it was, some of the guys at like networking event introducing me to Ed Cook, and Ed Cook is the founder of Memrise. And Memrise, yeah, we know it's also an app, yeah, to learn different things. And I had no idea. I really had no idea. And when we met eventually at his office, and I checked his description, great master of memory, and I was, what is that? It's a Harry Potter thing. Anyways, and that was how then I got introduced to one of the organizers of like UK Open Memory Championship. And then I went there, I met these people, these amazing people who are not so nerds, they're also like businessmen, entrepreneurs, like amazing people. And I was like, oh my God, this is my crowd. This is like all the brainy ones. Yeah, because, it's very difficult when you're at some point when you understand that you're kind of, the most experienced or the smartest in the room. And it gives so much pressure on you as well, because you're like, okay, I need more like people from whom I can learn, like not just, watching them, but actually talking to them, being connected to them. And then, you're coming as well there. They're all these smart people, and they started teaching me all this, tricks, techniques, and this was hilarious. And I even didn't, I wasn't the last one, so it was good, like competition. So again, and then I got invited to China and for the World Memory Championship, and there lots of very strange things happened. And when I got back from there, that was the moment when I said, okay, let's get a trial, EuropeOnline, the school. And this was a trial. It wasn't actually the start of the startup. Okay. And with this trial, we got into this top 20 of the world. And I was like, we are not there yet, but okay, cool, yeah. That was how it actually started, more or less.
Jeez, okay. Wow. And so how does it actually like work? What are the mechanics of it?
Oh God. This was always very challenging, because for me it was always so obvious how you don't understand it. Well, let's imagine you would like to learn Spanish because you want, let's say, you want to trade with Latin America, for example. Yeah, you want to expand. So for us, you're like a driver of Formula One. So it's all about you, your story, your goals, your interests. Then my team, we are now almost 100 tutors, getting more. So we get a few people, Spanish-speaking people, can be natives, can be not, both, high level. And we form this team according to your interests, yeah, your schedule, just checking on all this, yeah, dots, yeah. And we have like 4 or 5 people working with you. You have a few lessons per week, say 2 or 3. And then every day you also have communication via messengers. You also get tasks, and there we also have an option either to write this task or make a video with our custom video app. So it also, shows the progress. Then obviously we're working on memory training, definitely, like to memorize more words and grammar. And then apart from this, it's also cultural awareness, explaining you why in certain countries, let's say Latin America, yeah, you should act in a different way in negotiations, yeah. And then public speaking. And public speaking, it can be, again, either just presenting keynote, yeah, or like, let's say to a few people, or it can be like a proper TED style presentation. And it's all in Spanish. And it's all, starts in like little by little. You have the 3 months and you go from 0 and you get to B1. B1, it's like tourist level. So through this level, we actually build in your confidence in your speaking, getting you more information about culture, memory, building up. And then later, if you want to go through and get to this B2, it's like level when you actually can study at university or work, yeah? So at this level, we're working with you mostly, as I say, like this presenting skills, or let's say, deeper cultural understanding. And
how are you assessing the individual's progress?
Yes, so one of them is a video app, another one it's constant feedback with tutors, because you make mistakes and you're fine with making mistakes. The point is that, let's say, the topics that we've covered with you, say some time ago, recently, so you picking up, and with vocabulary, like now as well with memory training, shaping, we try to calculate, what is the amount of words, phrases you've actually covered, you've learned. So far, on average, it's like 3,000. However, I'm ambitious now even to get, to another number, maybe, 5,000 more, because we are now trying to work, let's say, on separate sessions, like new sessions of memory, when a person can just, sit and, memorize, 100 words and more, but all in the context of the course, not just, separately, because it's possible even more. I mean,
what do you think something like this means for the future of education and traditional schooling?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that's like so powerful. Well, look, for example, even in my case, right? So 15 minutes, give me 15 minutes, I will memorize, 100 words, 150 words. So it's just, let's say, it's words. If we're talking about all these text materials, history, right? It will turn them into these creative machines that can memorize, like children, as much as possible. Yeah, and the same again with languages, because it's communication, and if you look at it from the side of not just a tool, but also worldview, it will boost their creativity, it will help them to find non-standard solutions, and it will definitely benefit our society, because we will start developing, let's say, our economy or whatever it is, in completely new direction.
But do you think you'll work with educational institutions, or do you think you'll disrupt them?
That's a very good question. I would put it this way. A few years ago, I thought that I was going to conquer the world.
You still might.
I feel like that I've done already. I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you, but that's the feeling that I've been like, yes, I'm going to conquer. Now I feel like I've conquered. I'd like to impact the world, but impact in a very, this gentle way that then it would, get its own shape, but, on its own. So I'll just give this impulse. It's fine.
I like it.
Yeah, so that's how I feel now, and I really believe that our common effort, like people from memory sport, people again from linguistics like polyglots, and all the enthusiasts who actually provide some high quality service in language learning, or again like presenting, or like memorizing learning, all this common effort will get this critical mass eventually, and we will be able to shift the paradigm, because that's what's happening now, because like my friends from Sweden, like memory sport like champions, they are like talking to this like panel of Nobel Prize, like trying to get there some shift, but Sweden's just one small country, right? We're here now as well, we're looking at what's happening in schools, what's happening at universities, again, because lots of companies now we know actually working in education, so how we can make change there. Again, Europe, Asia. I'm already connected there. When I was in China, so I gave some workshops, trainings, and I saw what was going on there. And this is just horrific, because they have like 40 children per class, maybe even 50, because it's all overcrowded, overpopulated. And how are you going to teach a person something in this constant that's a completely different system. So it's like one of the things, but definitely everything is going online now, we know it. So the question is how in years we're all going to adapt to it, how new generation of kids are going to adapt, and how actually older generation is going to adapt to learn. Because a few years ago, so it's like 2014, 15, 16, been involved into this global education futures. It's like it's a project that is created by minds from Silicon Valley and then Skolkovo. It's like Russian-based, Silicon Valley. So all these two, forces united with CEOs of different companies as well, like Samsung and this type of top people and academics and influencers. And we were literally foresighted, brainstorming on the future of education, on all the tendencies. This is very fascinating because eventually the conclusion was that in years we will get rid of exams, or let's say in the education system as it is right now, and we will come to, let's say, intermediary exams, or like kind of passes that would identify our levels. So identify our level of proficiency of a language, or let's say a level of particular technical skill. And you will have to run this test maybe every 3 or 5 years, because you can go upper or you can go down. So it's like all quite flexible, and then you would be able, let's say, to acquire a few different professions again during your lifetime. And I've heard this theory, like it's just something like philosophical, that why to live like one life when actually you can live like, let's say, 4 or 5 different lives, because you have these different hobbies, different ideas, so why not to do it? So it can actually become true that people would be like, first years of their life, 25 years, they would be into gaming, IT gaming, and like later there would be something more with nature, like biology, and then later on and on. And they would bring all the skills from the past to a new profession.
That's really cool, actually.
But we will see, and we were like talking as well a lot about so how online influences us, and then how important the role of coach is becoming. So we have the teacher, but we have like the teacher, the tutor, the different names, all of them. But then eventually, if we take the tutor and we turn him or her into a coach, it's a completely different perspective. Mentor, coach. So coach, it's a person more who is kind of empowering you, helping you to find the questions without answering your questions, right? Kind of like guiding you. And the same, like I started applying in Amolingua, so we are trying to coach people. And it's coming again to our psychology, motivation, all this like deeper, let's say, feelings. And I believe that even that we're going into online, this will be one of the things, emerging things, important ones, because we all need some kind of, maybe like legacy values established, and we need to stick to them. This one of the thoughts.
So how important do you think it is for people to know more than one or multiple languages?
It's extremely important. I mean, like every day is something happening. There are different, different perspectives and how we can look at it. So, first of all, that language, what it is, it's a tool of communication. So while we are speaking, we are talking as well with hands, especially Italians, and the way how we perceive information, the way how we send information, how we perceive information, a lot determined by the way we behave and our language. If we think about the theory of Vygotsky is one of the scientists, anthropology mostly, talking about the worldview. He was saying that our worldview is formed by the language, and the language is forming the worldview. And this famous Sapir-Whorf, especially like scientists, especially after the movie Arrival, there's a Arrival, a female linguist, so they were talking the same, that actually it's all interconnected. So let's say environment is influencing us. So, and if in this environment we're speaking particular language and we're acquiring particular habits, customs of this language and this culture, that culture is literally say, mirrored in our language, we start behaving in this way and we start thinking in this particular pattern, of this language and in this culture. And imagine that, that we meet somebody from the East or whichever country, and they have their own environment, their own background, and their own language. And their background and language is mirrored in their language. They think in a bit different way with different values. And here, a bit of miscommunication starts happening. And that's fine. I mean, at the beginning, that's okay. Then you adjust. But if we go more into negotiations, if we're talking about, let's say, this teamwork, with all this intercultural communication, again, personal relationship, that's where all these underwater stones appear. Then people start noticing that it's not just about language or, let's say, limited capacity of expressing your emotions in a foreign language, but it's actually a different worldview, there are different values. And I'm not touching now on religion. It's part of this, but I'm still talking about more like socio-cultural, aspects. So that's like more, communication, right? Then if we're talking about brain, oh God, there are more and more and more, papers, scientific, reports, just, proving that if you're bilingual or if you speak 2-3 languages, your neuroplasticity is much active. And I believe into this. I know, like here at the University of Edinburgh, there are amazing, projects like Baby Lab, and then one of the professors working with like medical linguistics, medical as well psychology, working on dementia. That eventually it slows, let's say, learning language slows dementia, like Zafin dementia. That's amazing. So we have with you like different benefits, starting from this amazing creativity, like both language learning, memory training, so it's all creativity. And then we have with you communication and psychology. So eventually, when a person gets, let's say, 2 or 3 languages in store, and not just a tool as language, but also understanding of culture, understanding how a person from another side of the table there thinking, you get different colors. As I was even like saying in my TED talk, that when you acquire another language, you may see even, the 8th color in the rainbow. Because even in some languages, if you look at colors, if you look at some natural, let's say, phenomenon, even like everyday life, you may notice that they have particular phrases or words that don't exist in your language. And this reflects their everyday life, as well their customs. And that's amazing.
One of the things that I've come across in my sort of research, if you like, is secondary linguistic personality or language alter ego. What is that?
You're now talking to my language alter ego. Because it's Kate. And it's Kate, and Kate can be, Kate coming from somewhere from Oxford or England. Or Kate coming from Edinburgh. So it's quite exciting. It's all, as I say, like started here at the first university, and it was about this formation of the worldview, the shape of the worldview. So quite often, if we learn a language when we're already, let's say, 25, 30, and so on, and we learn it just for business, we take all our values, all our habits, behavior from our first language to a foreign language. So, and then when you start noticing that a person is actually speaking quite well, quite fluently, but something is wrong. You somewhere you don't get the person right. Something, something is missing. Maybe in a body language, maybe intonation. Quite often, it happens with intonation. Maybe even like, in communication, person just is not aware of some social media stuff or like media, whatever it is. So, secondary linguistic personality or language alter ego is literally part of your personality in a foreign language that is in sync with the local culture, with the local worldview. That's why we encourage students while they're learning a language also to go through history, then politics, economic situation, whatever is happening, so they would be up to date and they would start grasping the situation, because this all is influencing people, and they actually their worldview, their everyday life, and then this help them to connect. So that's what's happening.
Okay.
So
So because you know so many languages, what language do you think? What's your dominant thinking language, and what language do you dream in?
it doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't happen. It's very interesting. Like, it's psychology, I think. Like, I'm used to speaking to you in English. I would speak in English. I have people with whom I'm used to speaking in Spanish or in French. I would actually stick to speaking to them in this particular language. So if, let's say, I'm talking to you, some of them just say like Kate or Catherine or whatever, I would reply in their language, and it's automatic and you can't control it. It's very interesting. And another thing that quite when I'm traveling and when I, let's say, move to another country and stay there for some time, I start feeling that some language starts dominating. Like, for example, here, English is dominating, but because of all my work with this versatile team and students, I speak like 4, 5, sometimes 6 languages per day, and that's fine for me. It's routine. But again, I try not to let one language dominate all the time. That's why, like, also like friends as well, like speaking different languages, and we can switch, and we can just switch, during conversation, and that's fine. It's really cool. I love it, because you just, you just switch and you don't notice, and you just keep carrying on, and and it's fine. It's like it's a tool, and dreaming. Like, for example, now with Arabic, so started Arabic, it's like another, let's say, challenge. I'm still dreaming in it, but for me, I think this victory is that I started actually reading it, and writing, and this all, like, as well, like our little project inside of Amolingua, so we're preparing another, like, in-depth course for this type of languages. We have them already, but I wanted something else, even, more unique, and I look at it, and it used to be for me just like beautiful painting, kind of drawing, and now it starts getting, its shape and then sometimes meaning. I'm like, wow. So it's, different level again, how you look at the world.
It's really fascinating. It really, really is.
But I don't know, like, as well, like with music, I don't know, you don't have it here yet. I started playing. I always wanted as well. It's another thing, right? And music, it's another language. I didn't know. I mean, I couldn't read. I was like illiterate in music. And now I started reading music. And we were just discussing with a guy, so we are like playing, that actually music and languages, it's very connected in phonetics, right? If like Chinese, it's all tones. But also when you play, like those who write from left to right, it's much easier for them to play this side. But those who write from right to left, it's easier for this side. And we were experimenting. So yes, I was picking up Arabic and piano at the same time. So I was doing here, and then I started writing more here. And it was much easier to play this side, like from right to left. That's true. I mean, it's all interconnected. So eventually you're like, okay, so the way you write even, not just like speak, but the way you write and the way you structure grammar in your sentences influences the way you structure your thoughts and then how you make decisions.
Amazing. Okay, it's been fascinating to hear about your journey and the amazing work that you're doing, and I feel as though I've got more intelligent just by having this conversation.
Thank you.
But it would be great at this stage, I think, to delve a little deeper and address some of the sort of larger, more philosophical kind of questions.
Yeah, sure.
This show ultimately, as I say, is about encouraging people to reconnect with their purpose or what is their passion and kind of go after that. What do you think your purpose is?
God, it's very interesting because I was thinking about all this positivity and energy. So talking about Amolingua now, it's empower people to learn and like to learn pretty much anything yeah, we're talking about communication, the skills, but I believe that eventually it's like empowering them to learn about themselves and their strong sides. And my side, like my purpose, I think after all these horrible experiences with coaches, tutors, all this journey, especially in childhood, I think that eventually I kind of, created a self-made coach in myself that just encourages any student or any actually person who starts something new, like some new beginning, do it. Just go and do it. But not just bluntly do it. Don't think about. But go through particular, let's say, phases. Prepare, and then do it. And that's why I think in Amolingua again, we're trying to build our own, culture inside of the company. Talking about how we are treating students, how we're working with them. And I even can't say clients, because like for me, clients is like something to business, so it's like always like students.
I actually really hate that term. Client.
Client or customer. No, students. It doesn't matter, how like if a person is older than I am or whatever. Like I always treat her with respect. The point is that it's student, and it's not university student, just students. So, and the point is that we always encourage, we always empower. So after, let's say, a lesson or a session, students should go in this positive, type of mood, not like walking on the clouds, but just feeling better, like after a very good, meeting with a friend or good negotiations or, anything that actually brings this positivity. And I think that's, one of the very important things in communication as well, because we have so much power, so much energy. And I think it's very easy for us actually to influence somebody. Even that, we're kind of saying no, we won't go give the keys of, our emotions, our heart to somebody else. Still it happens, interrogation. And we're all kind of interdependent. And I understand that maybe like years ago, again like 3 years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, when there was lots of pressure, I kind of, in public, I would be like super, positive, and it would be authentic. I would be just, getting this energy and giving it back, just empowering. But then with close ones, with people, like with whom, like you have like personal connections, like close circle, you would have kind of, low energy, and then there would some negativity pop up, and you would be thinking like, why is it happening, And I understand that it's how you communicate basically with yourself and like with the world around you, like not just people, just in general. And I think like purpose, when you reconnect with your purpose and all your values, and eventually asking yourself, why are you here? Why are you talking to all these people? Why are you waking up in the morning? That's when the negativity actually goes away. And that's what actually kind of happened to me, like all this reconnection, like during the past months, like in 2016, I would say. There were lots of things happening and lots of bad things, let's say, just in general, negativity. And I was like, no, something is going wrong. Something is not right, and it's not right with you. You need to fix it. And that's like, let's say, months and months of kind of, journey and traveling, what's going on. So, so we all need it. We all need the purpose. If we don't have it, wow, why are we waking up in the morning?
I agree. Definitely. Good answer. What would you like your legacy to be?
Oh, God. I think eventually when I die, people would say what was my legacy. It's tough to say now, right? Because, I'm so versatile. I think I will concentrate on education, like languages, cultures, and just enhancing the level of education and different types of maybe educational tools and services, and just making this educational process more positive, more entertaining, lovable. So eventually it would be like edutainment, but not just game, right? And probably this would be the part of my, part of the legacy. Let's say something like international, intercultural, impactful, something like this. It's tough to say now. I just understand that if 10 years ago I had this phrase about me, like, again, I made it up, that I would be a girl who could turn her dreams of yesterday into like routine of today, which was really nice. And I mean, like, I believed it until now, and I would just do it all of myself. Now I feel like that I would rather, you know, I would focus on something, I would plan it, but still I'll let more surprises happen. I'll let life happen. So that's why I'm saying that. I've got some focus, I've got some plan, yeah, impact. But then how life actually, you know, responds and turns it around, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to conquer the mountain. I'm going between the mountains. Yeah. It's a new approach for me.
Yeah. How do you define success?
Oh God. Success. What is success? Yeah. We are all successful people. What is this? You know, I think it's fulfillment eventually, because we all get into this game of catching these rabbits, yeah? And I was there like lots of times. And it's like vicious circle. You're not enough. Yeah, you want these people love you. Like you feel that you're not enough for somebody, for like, you know, for something, like for business, for anything. And it's just horrible. And like it's even like not happiness, yeah, because you can be happy like, you know, now, and then tomorrow you're not, or like next hour. But success, it's something about being connected to yourself, being fulfilled. And thinking, yeah, I've actually done something, I feel good about it. And even if something went wrong, not regret about it in terms of like, oh, I could have done better or something like, you know, being anxious and nervous, just accepting yourself.
That's a brilliant answer. Very, very good. Who or what inspires you?
You know, it's very interesting, like, when we were talking about like inspiring people in terms of like business or something like this, it's tough to answer, because if we look into the picture there, like majority of all these like businessmen, leaders, they're men, right? And I'm a woman, and I actually want to project this female energy, being a woman and being a woman entrepreneur, not like, I'm a woman, oh my God. No, not at all, you know, because I also notice that lots of women, unfortunately, going into this, you know, business like male-dominated, they are becoming more and more kind of, you know, male stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And this is terrifying. And again, it was like 2015 maybe, yeah, when we got into top 100 with EuropeOnline. I just remember I had to go from Edinburgh to London, and actually I hurt my back. I was talking to my friend and I fell from office chair. It was horrible.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but so I was pitching, and I was like in jeans and some style of, you know, kind of t-shirt, so kind of, you know, this skater boy. And I'm just like now looking at these pictures, I'm like, oh my God. Because I was all into this like, yes, you're going to do it, you're going to smash it. Yeah, you're in top 100, but you look like shit, but it's fine. So that's the point. Not anymore. And I understand that there should be more like role figures as well, like female, you know, models in business. And now I really like, I even can't identify, you know, a woman who would be like, yeah, this is the lady I would like, you know, to be. And even this Elizabeth Holmes, yeah, with Theranos, we don't know what's happening there. And I remember how again 2015, I think I liked all this like black style, you know, just, you know, trying to be kind of, you know, same way like science, you know, reading as well something about her. But no, I don't want to be like somebody, let's say, but inspiration actually comes from within, I think, eventually. Because now, what is inspiration? Inspiration, it's energy. It's like somebody or something that gives you energy. Literally, it's like this. Like in poetry, for me, inspiration was always very sudden. It would just come and go. like, muse would come and go. I still can wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. just like sweating, give me pen and give me paper. Because it's already in my head. It dawned on me, any language, whatever, I'm just writing it. Until I finish, I won't be able to sleep. This is what happens, yeah. So this is one side of inspiration. Another inspiration type, when you look at something you're beautiful, right? Or when you listen to something that actually resonates with you, right? And it can be anything. It can be science, it can be history, it can be some inspiration, like story, like we all love stories about people. We love people's stories. So you connect with this. It can be something like that. People, I think all now, like people, my friends, like close circle, with whom, working, all these people actually inspire me. And it's very interesting because, again, years, maybe teenage time, it would be, somebody famous, this is who is inspiring me. Now it's more about, with whom you connect, with whom you feel that actually your mindset is clicking. And you even, you may even not say a word with a person, just sit in and you will be fine. And you just feel like you feel good, just feeling good. So I believe that we need more of it in our hectic life. Just, being able, to write, to paint, dance, playing, just getting out all this creativity and staying with people with whom we feel so comfortable, so home, and boost of energy, and just then go stay on your own, meditate, kind of process all of it, and then, create something new and more beautiful.
What are some of your kind of positive habits, or like sort of success habits? I mean, you mentioned meditate. Is that something that you do?
Yeah, I mean, meditation is one thing, but meditation is like growing slowly. Yeah, because it used to be like 1 minute, I can't sit anymore. Well, one of the things is a lot about diet, like food. In 2014, we met with David. David is in London, client. So he's a coach, like fitness, style. And I, before that as well, was quite negative towards all these gyms, because I was like, okay, if I'm going for sport, I'm going for particular sport. So I used to like practice capoeira, fencing, different styles. I was like, I'm getting back to capoeira, and then no, gym. And a huge surprise for me was that he isn't just like a gym coach. He is actually like a nutrition guy, all this type of things, like all like 3D. And this was brilliant because he helped me to actually get accountability on what I was eating, how I was eating it, which day, with whom, and later on, little by little, switch my diet into something healthier. This was brilliant, and it was lots of trust as well put in it, because you're like sharing absolutely everything, whatever bad habits you have. Like I remember, like I was under pressure, I would eat chocolate, like above chocolate, I don't know, Ben and Jerry, whatever, a lot. And after working with him maybe for 4 months, like gradually changing it, I felt almost nothing towards chocolate. I felt almost nothing, towards this type of things. And after that, I just tried, to keep, this healthy diet. It's literally, you can eat basically everything, but you need more meat, fish, so you need this energy. And it's really good now that you just go shopping, grocery shopping, you just collect all of this, or like type of proteins, all this, and just go home and you cook, and you get home cooked food, which is, I think, amazing. Because restaurants, all this, it's cool when you have some events, gatherings, but eventually if you want to eat healthy and you want to keep your energy high, so you need to cook. It's one of the things. Another thing, writing, like everything, diary, definitely. I used to write a lot, diaries. Then I stopped. Then I started again, because I realized that it just helps to empty your head, especially before going to sleep. And if, let's say, you're super anxious, like lots of emotions, you just write it down, absolutely everything, whatever is there. And
So is it kind of journaling then, or is it?
yeah, it can be like journal, diary, yeah, whatever it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just put down absolutely everything. And it's also interesting here because I write as well in different languages. And it depends on what I feel, like maybe about somebody, you know, maybe there was some conversation, you know, some particular subject, and this like determines my language that I write. And yeah, I mean, this is a very good thing, like journal. But journal, yeah, some people, yeah, write, some people don't. I believe that we all should, because I mean, in years, you will be able to reflect on who you were. That's what happened to me, like, you know, quite recently. So I moved, so I got all the books, like everything, you know, what I had linked to the same flat. And I got that as well, like journals, diaries. And I'm like looking at it, what was like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, like, oh, wow, it's like completely, you know, different person. So it's fascinating. And then, well, definitely if you're learning something, like in my case, always, yeah, languages, something, you just need to kind of be disciplined on this. What I mean, you need to find this 1 hour of time per day. It can be even divided into 15-20 minutes, that's fine. But that's the time when you just put off absolutely everything and you get focused particularly on this thing, on this task, and you just do it. No excuse, nothing, you just do it. Whenever, whether it's in the morning, in the afternoon, evening, doesn't matter, do it. And then it helps, yeah, because you need consistency in learning. So whichever course it is, whatever it is, just, you know, you need this time for focus. So it will be more effective, more efficient, rather than 2 hours of like, yeah, what's next? And then social media, what's next? Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh God. They're different ones. They're very different ones. You know, probably one of the best ones was on the eve of my TED Talk, because it was in St. Andrews. We had alumni debate, like debates in society, and it was before the referendum, and there were people kind of coming from different as well, like parties, debate. It's quite interesting debate. But afterwards, yeah, as usual, we would go for some drinks and just socialize, talk. And there was one of spokesmen, let's say, and I shared with him about all my anxiety, like how I would go there to TED. And he had delivered a brilliant speech. However, he was just, yeah, it was just like my second or third speech. I'm like, what? How possible? And then he was like, look, when you go there, do they have handouts? Do they have leaflets, like all the script of your presentation? I'm like, no. Do they actually know what you're going to talk about? No. I mean, they know the title. So why are you so anxious? Relax. Like, because in my case, you know, it was like on one side it's like memory training, you get all these associations, you have it all, but imagine that you get so anxious that you just get blank, you know, in your mind, and nothing will help, nothing. And like what to do? And you're like, just relax, it's fine. They don't know what you're going to talk about, even if you are starting, you know, and them, you know, just trying, you know, to kind of find your pace or whatever. They will encourage you. They will help you, because they are not to kind of kill you, judge you. They're there to learn from you. Yeah. So that was one of, you know, these tips, and I remember that it really calmed me down. Like the next day, even if I was a bit like this, I was fine. Yeah. So I just went there. I was like, whatever. Yeah, I even improvised on the stage. I was like, wow, what's happening? You know, you're improvising, and then you had, oh no, stop, because you have time. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your best public speaking tip?
Oh, it depends what kind of person you are, but if you feel this anxiety, you need to identify for yourself. It's also good for exams or any interview. You need to identify for yourself whether it's good for you to do something very active, or it's good for you just to sit and breathe. Because in my case, and I'm so active and so much energy, I really need to do something. So all the things like TED, then TV show, film, whatever it is, I dance. And like, it's just crazy. I just dance, you know, like up to, sweat, just to feel in the flow. Like as soon as I feel it, and then I can just dance out to the stage. So for people as well like yourself, you're all the time now, in public, so it would be good. Either, do some push-ups or like some, sit, and then just, breathe in. Yeah, that's one of the things,
Yeah, I tend to probably be more of a breather myself, but that's interesting. I don't think I've heard of that. Kind of exercise the energy out of you.
Because you have so much adrenaline, right? You're so anxious, so your body is ready to fight. And when especially, you're going there, you're like in this moment, and then you can just get blank. So you need to kind of, throw it away a bit. And you just need a few moments, maybe in like less than a minute. Just, do it, and then you feel much better. And then you breathe in as well will get back to normal, and you will be just there, staying and just talking. Yeah.
I understand with this question, not a huge amount of time has lapsed, but if you had the opportunity to speak to the 20-year-old you, what would you say?
I mean, if you're talking about like even like just like literally, I just turned 25. Like before, like that, when we talked, I was like 24. So anyway, it's very interesting because so much has happened. It feels like, back to 20s. So where I was, it's typically like, where was I during this time? Because like every year I'm somewhere. During this time, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 2012, I was in Poland. And I think I just got back from Brussels or somewhere there, something like this. I think, well, maybe, trust even more my gut, because still there was always this fight between, brain and heart. And it's like what you should do, what you should have done, different types of things. And I don't know, I mean, maybe even like talk less. And maybe, maybe the thing is that just, trust life and trust people, because eventually there will, let's say, lots of situations when, you could have, let's say, let it go, trusted life without being so anxious and nervous, and it would be okay, but you were just, what's going to happen, and it wasn't just good for you, for your health, maybe like this, or just, just to say, don't think to cross the bridge, anyways.
If you could change anything in the world, what would it be and why?
To change? I'm already changed. I mean, education, I mean, we already are doing it. What else could be? I got really impressed by, like, there are already 2 books, but the first book was called Shantaram, so then the second book is like The Shadow Mountain, something like this, So there is a story about India, mostly like 80s, 90s, this type of thing. And there's like a personal story and then the description of all the life, let's say, in India and especially in slums. And if you look into it deeper, not just India, but let's say in general, talking again about the youth, children, then adults who are in these conditions, again, connected to education, you start thinking, okay, we have a couple of billions, we have people like this. What actually can we do? Like really, how can we impact? And all the sociocultural aspects kicking in, because we know the stories when special missions would go there to the slums, for example, and build, let's say, like toilets or just some kind of infrastructure, and this infrastructure then would be abandoned because they wouldn't just use it because it wasn't in their like custom, let's say, everyday life and their habit. So it takes time. So I believe that somehow, either through education, through this empowerment, we need to create connection, with people who are currently, let's say, societies, parts of the society, who are currently, let's say, misfortunate, at some point, and actually give them, like Mark Zuckerberg, now is trying to give everybody internet, but not just give the internet, but then give more educational tools, maybe, or educating tools for them to slightly change their like trajectory of life, of everyday life, kind of, introducing all these habits in education, in again social environment, but not like we're giving it to you, here's Coca-Cola, but doing it with time and patience, and then the change will come. That's one of the things. This is one of the advice that I would definitely give myself when I was 20 years old. Be more patient, Be more patient,
It's a good one. For sure. Kate, it's been a fantastic interview. It's been brilliant to hear a lot of your thoughts. Some fascinating stuff, I have to be honest. You're extremely smart and incredibly talented, and I'm sure you'll go extremely far. You're already proving that. So, I wish you all the best with the work that you're doing, and I look forward to watching how the next few years unfold for you.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. And I've discovered something about myself as well. That's great, educational. No, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to, watching this interview in years' time saying, you remember.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Good. Yeah.
Brilliant. Kate, thank you so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.